During his career, he's been a college administrator, a minister, radio announcer, college band announcer, movie producer, and theatrical producer. He sold everything from Hershey bars to cheap knife sets, television post-production, $30,000 diamonds, and $250,000 ideas. Maybe you could sell one or two of those later this morning. So, once upon a time, he ran away and lived and worked on cruise ships for 2 years. Sounds like you.
Yeah, that's me.
Over the course of his life, he claims to have made virtually every mistake that you can make. That's two of us, both personally and professionally, that doesn't land you in jail. I've ended up there, though. Today, he helps business owners make more money through the appropriate use of opt-in text marketing. Today, he's going to focus our thinking on the power of personal branding. Welcome, if you will, Keith Agnew.
Well done. Read flawlessly, perfectly. I have an ex-wife. Well, that's not true. I've got two ex-wives. And one of them heard me being introduced somewhere. And they used basically the same introduction. And at the end of my talk, she came up, and I'm thinking she's going to say, that was really great. She said, that introduction sounds like you can't keep a job. I said, what it really says is that I have a very short attention span and that I adore change, which accounts for why she's my ex-wife. I want to talk about the power of branding. Tonight, if we're all lucky, when we get home, we've gone through everything we do in the evening, we climb into bed, we pull the covers up over our chin, we reach over, we turn out the light. The only real asset that we have at that moment is our personal brand. Now, we used to call personal brands reputation. See, personal branding is not a new idea. It's been around forever, since people started relating to people. But now we call it personal branding because that indicates that we give it conscious attention now, as opposed to just something happening. There's a couple of things I want you to know about personal branding that I've learned over the course of my life. Number one, everybody has one. You cannot escape having a personal brand. It is just part of being alive. But the second thing is, you and I do not create our brands. We influence them, but we don't create them. Right now, there's about 15 people in this room. And that means that my personal brand happens in this moment 15 or 20 different times. Because everybody in this room has a slightly different perception of me at this very moment. I can do things to influence what you think of me. I can do things to influence how you perceive me. But I cannot dominate you with my brand. In other words, my brand exists in your mind in addition to in my mind. And what's in my mind about me may not be in your mind about me. So I can influence the brand, but I cannot dominate it. The third thing that is important about branding is this, and I think this is the most critical one. So if you're going to write down notes, this is the one to write down. And I see everybody rushing to a pen. Personal branding and personal brands are always in a state of flux. They are dynamic. They do not exist in the moment and last forever. I want to give you an example. Now, contrary to popular opinion, this is not everything I know about women. This is the story of a day in the life of a personal brand. Let's say, for instance, that you come to a networking event at 7:30 in the morning. And while you're here, you meet this person over here. We're going to call that Tim. We could call it Bob. In fact, I've heard that if we call it Bob and your friends are dyslexic, no problem. But you meet Tim. And as we do our 60-second go-around, Tim stands up and he says something that is extremely profound to you. He says something that you haven't heard before. You've just met Tim, and this is where he is with you in terms of his personal brand. Sort of neutral. But because of something he says, his brand is immediately enhanced. After the meeting, you go up to Tim and say, "That was really interesting. I want to talk more about you and what you're doing." He says, "Great." And y'all have this 45-second conversation that's really very meaningful. You're liking this. His brand is further enhanced. But while you're talking, someone walks behind him or behind you, and he sees them. You don't, but he does. And his eyes go from you to that person. Split second, but you see that. What happens to his brand? It's diminished. These are the two key words for personal branding: enhanced and diminished. But he comes back to you after a split second, and you continue to have a conversation, and you agree to meet tomorrow at 3 o'clock right back here. 3 o'clock tomorrow. His brand is once again enhanced. Tomorrow comes, you're here at 2:45 because you're sort of like that. You always show up early. 3:15, he's not here yet. His brand is diminished simply by not being here. Around 3:20, he calls you. And he says, "I'm sorry I'm not there. But I had a little fender bender. And I'm just sort of stuck, but I'll be there in about 20 minutes. I've just got to fill out paperwork with the police." What happened now? Brand is enhanced again. And he walks in the door. He greets you as if you're the best person on the planet. And once again, his brand is enhanced. That's the life of a brand over the course of 2 days, and you've yet to do any business together.